All right, frustrating times. Frustrating times. When will it ever end? When will these CGI images just go away forever? Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing real well. I just want to voice some of my frustrations when it comes to the Boogeyman disease. So one thing I think is really frustrating is that when you're at work and you have to hear about how everybody is not feeling well, and I've caught this, I caught that. I'm going to go get tested. I got to go to urgent care, just nonstop. And, you can't tell them the truth, because if you told them the truth, then essentially your job is on the line. So, you have to just go along with it, which makes you basically insane after a while. And yeah, you could say, well, block it all out. Don't think about it, but it's everywhere, especially when you're in more of a leadership position. So you're seeing, you're getting reported to about these things. And it just becomes very frustrating. I just want to shake that person and say, hey, wake up. Why don't you take control over your health? So the Boogeyman disease is a fiction, first and foremost. It came out in 2019, of course, in China, and then spread to the US, and lockdowns and all that fun stuff. Face diapers, going out in public, not seeing other people's face anymore. Yeah, that was the reality for a very long time. People are still doing that. They still think they're being protected. They just look foolish, okay? And nobody can help these people. Nobody can help somebody who's like that. Now, as far as there's a huge psychology to all this. So it started out, a long time ago, 4 years ago, 4 years ago. And at the time, it's like, holy crap, how are people falling for this? And then they did, and then it's like, okay, well, how long is this going to be? And it just went on and on and on and on, and over repetition in a long period of time. So the total duration and the frequency of being reminded that they're, in a pandemic, creates a whole new paradigm now. A paradigm where we don't fight through illness anymore. We will miss work when we could have worked previously. In years past, right? Employers are going to be more lenient. Work's not going to get done, and it's going to all negatively affect the customer at the end of the day. Everything is to negatively affect the customer, essentially. So that's what's happening. And in the future, these people will continue to be sick, unreliable. AI will come in, it'll take up those positions. So, okay, we don't need these people anyway. And then there might be some sort of UBI, universal basic income, that gets presented for these individuals. Because something's got to give, because people can't just keep getting sick. Now, are more people getting sick now than 3, 4 years ago, 5 years ago? In my observation, in my experience, yes. I want to hear from you, though. What do you guys think? Are more people in your world getting sick? I see it. Now, is that because of the jab, the jabberoo? Is that because of just the continuation of taking, over-the-counter drugs, pharmaceutical drugs, and, eating highly processed foods? Is that due to psychology in the mind? I think it's a combination of all three. I think we were already heading in that direction prior to the CV in 2019, where people were getting sick more often. Hey, they had other jabs back then as well for the, the flu. So they already had that going on for a long time, and obviously children get many of them as well when they're young. So for the younger crowd, yeah, for sure. Now, more older people and things like that, the years and years and years of, of processed foods, just bad diets, just, drinking soda, drinking alcohol, tobacco, drugs, whatever, all that garbage mess toxicity, that overwhelms the system, where the system has no choice. It has to get rid of it somehow, and through detox, outlets, and then you experience those symptoms, and it's very painful, right? So, and then you go to the drugstore, you get some You get something for it, Tylenol or whatever you get, and then it suppresses the symptoms. You feel a little bit better, but kind of crummy. You still got to sleep it off. And then you're pretty good, and then it comes back and, you just repeat the cycle over and over again. So more money in the pockets of big pharma. It's wonderful. More weakened humans where when they're sick and not feeling well, they're not empowered, right? They're not going to be thinking straight. They're going to be just focused on their health. And that's what they want to do. They want to make everybody sick so they can just focus on themselves and their health and not look at what's going on around them. So yeah, very, very frustrating, this whole thing, like having to shut up and keep your mouth shut about everything that's going on in the workforce, for sure. Because obviously, people have their heads up their asses when it comes to their health. And most of the deception in this world, pretty much all of it, they got their head in the sand. So what is this? So I said this is fabrication. Everything is a deception. Virtually everything is a deception. Prove me wrong that something might not be a deception. I mean, something that I might think is a deception is a deception. I mean, the events of September in 2001 a deception. Was some of those, I call them bang bang events. Mass events. Were those deceptions? Some of them, all of them. Was the CV a deception? Is there no deception? I mean, come on. There's many deceptions in this realm. You cannot deny that. We're not going to split hairs over if if like everything was versus 99.9% was versus 100%. Like, we're not going to argue over that. So it's many, it's much, it's most in my estimation. So yeah, fabrication did not go through the process of the scientific method, did not fulfill the scientific method. So Koch's postulates, Rivers did not get done. Those are the gold standard is, Koch's postulates, some Koch's postulates, however you want to pronounce it. That's the gold standard for figuring out whether or not these microorganisms cause disease, and they didn't follow it. They didn't isolate the germ. Okay, so they don't do these things, and we're just supposed to assume, after they lock us down, they put, a muzzle on our faces. We're supposed to just assume, even though they've never scientifically proven it, that it's happening, it's real, and we just need to trust you and just go along with not breathing. I mean, craziness. So obviously humans are different, right? I'm different than you are, you're different than they are, we're different from they are, whatever. We're all different in some ways. Perhaps people don't have the same mind as one another in consciousness, and it's all a little bit different. It kind of has to be. There's really hardly any other explanation. So my experience is, I haven't had a cold. I haven't been sick or had a simple cold in over 4 years, about 4.5 years. And only once in about 6 years, 6.5 years. So why is that? Well, I don't take any pharmaceutical drugs aside from some eye drops that I've taken. But I don't take any over-the-counter, any prescription drugs. I haven't had the poke in the arm since very young, since I was 16 or 17. So, almost 2 decades now. And I used to get sick, I used to actually get sick. So it's not like I've never been sick before. I would be sick really bad, like once a year, maybe twice. And then in addition to that, maybe 3 or 4 times a year, I'd have like a cold, sore throats. I had a lot of strep throat in high school. So I used to get sick pretty often. And then I stopped getting sick. All of a sudden I stopped taking the medications, the drugs. And now I never get sick. And if I got sick, I hardly have any symptoms at all, especially when it's like more of a lower carbohydrate kind of lifestyle, So if I did get sick, I would think I was dying because I don't know what it's like anymore. So hopefully there's many of you out there that know what that's like and you can share your experience. But basically no drugs, no jabs equals I'm pretty damn healthy. I don't get sick ever. Now, everybody's a little bit different, like different genetics. So I get it, Some people were born a little less healthy than others, or more like, how do I say this, more not as well like adapted to the environment that humans have created in the last 50 to 100 years. So perhaps a sickly person, genetic wise, somebody who has the genetics a certain way that they just get sick, they're more prone to sickness. That person maybe 100 years ago would have been fine if they were just clean, with what they ate and everything. But they don't have the ability so much as others, maybe as myself, to adapt to like this insane poisonous environment that we're in. Constant, everything's poisoning us at all times. Such a beautiful place that the loving Creator created for us all, isn't it? So that's a whole nother topic. But wanted to get to my story really quick here. So, this was the first time I realized the body heals itself, folks. The body heals itself. I think I was 18 or 19. I was, out of the reign of my parents. So, I didn't have health insurance. I was really sick. I had strep throat, I believe. I'd had it many times in high school. So, oh man, my throat was so sore and I was so achy and just felt terrible. I was at work, working at retail for a pharmacy, and I didn't know what to do. I'm like, damn, I don't have insurance. I mean, I didn't like the doctors anyway, but I'm like, I should get checked out. When I get this sore throat, they give me something, and then it does something and makes it go away. So I got to do that. But I couldn't. I didn't have insurance. I didn't know what to do. I was on my own. So I just took some stuff at the pharmacy, which I don't anymore. But back then, that was kind of a step in the right direction. That was a baby step for me. So I took something from the pharmacy, and just over 3 or 4 days, felt a lot better. And then a week, I was pretty much 100%. So that was the first time I'm like, damn, I don't need to go to these doctors anymore if I have like a cold or a flu or anything like that. I mean, yeah, if it's something really freaky and I've never heard, have no idea what it is, that's a little different maybe. But when it's something that I've experienced many times in my life, like a cold, strep throat, flu, whatever, well, I can just treat myself at home. I can get rest, and the body's going to get better. And guess what, folks? I'm still walking around talking. I'm still alive. So I didn't make a bad decision. And I haven't even been sick for 4.5 years. So yeah, I would take the medications. I would take the over-the-counter drugs. They would clear up the symptoms, but I would just get sick later. And the cycle would then begin. It would begin a new cycle. And I believe these drugs just suppress the symptoms. They drive, in some way, they drive the toxins in the body deeper into the tissues. So it has to be dealt with later. It kind of just like puts it aside for a while, like the detox. It's like, all right, let's just put this aside. Let's get rid of the detox and let's go. And then they come back because that's how the body works. The body's always trying to heal itself. So I figured that out. And I'm sure many of you have. But I just wanted to tell my experience on that and my story on that. That yeah, we do have some control over our health. We have a good amount. I mean, everyone's a little different, but make a decision for yourself. If you're somebody who is just kind of average, you gotta eat better, eat as close to the way nature intended it. Get outside, get some sun, go for a walk now and again. You don't need to do anything too rigorous or too too strenuous. Just get some fresh air, get some sun, and don't keep your stress levels low as possible and get enough sleep, and you'll be fine. Just don't overexhaust yourself, and don't be smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol every day, and things like that. And stay away from those pharmaceutical drugs. That's what I would say, unless it's something that that has no other solution, right? I mean, if there are natural remedies or if there are other solutions or it's as simple as just rest, then do it. But I didn't want to miss out. I didn't want to like get away from what happened to me. So, basically in my early 20s, I started smoking marijuana. I don't smoke as much as I used to. I still do. I really enjoy it a lot. But when I was younger, I did it, almost, pretty much every day. So when I would get sick, I wouldn't, go to the store, get any Tylenol or whatever. I'm just going to smoke a bowl. And I would smoke a bowl and I'd feel amazing. And then once it would fade, I'd smoke a little bit more, it was great. I'm like, this is great. This is what I'm going to use as my medicine from now on. That's what I did. And I will continue to do, but I don't get sick anyway. So I haven't been in that situation, but that's what I did. So that got me, that was like the beginning of getting me away from the drugs. Right? I had to like replace it with something. Now I wouldn't even need that. I mean, I could just suck it up and deal with it. I could just deal with it. I'm strong like that. So, because I know the body heals. So I just trust it. It's fine. Just get rest. Think happy thoughts. And yeah, your thinking your thinking does have a big role in your health as well. So, I can make myself have a sore throat or start like the detox process by just thinking negative thoughts. Okay. Thinking the wrong thoughts, those manifestations come about. I don't get like full on sick, but it's enough to where I feel a little ache and pain. And, and then if I think about good thoughts, things that I want or things that I want to have happen, then those go away. So your thinking is a big part of it. And I think the reason why people get sick, a lot of it is their thinking. It's an expectation. They expect to get sick. They're around somebody who's sick, has symptoms. There's an expectation that they're going to get sick. So they do. There may be I think there's a lot of reasons for it besides the germ theory and contagion and all that. Although I'm not saying it's completely impossible, but I'm definitely very skeptical of that for sure. 100%. Very skeptical. So yeah, the thoughts are very important. And, thoughts are healing as well. So think about what you're thinking. Get your mind, out of the darkness once in a while. Take back your power, from these evil rulers, these parasites that just want to steal your energy. They want to steal your money. They want to steal your hopes, your dreams. And then they want to give you these CGI images and just say, this is it, believe us, and not do any scientific experiments or anything. But they're supposed to be so scientific. So, yeah, the future does look pretty bleak as far as like where this is all heading. I mean, obviously, we've talked about these things over the past 3 or 4 years about what are they going to do with the people, the anti this, the anti whatever the establishment is, or the anti whatever they're pushing at that time. What are they going to do with those people? Are they going to allow them to go shopping and allow them to be a part of a society in any way? This is why we need to, dare I say, spread the word, even though it doesn't seem to matter, right? They have all the media controlled. I don't know. I think we all just need to be strong individually. So individually strong. Because I think if you're strong as an individual, and there's enough of us, I think that's enough for us to be okay and get around it and work through it. Fear is the number one blocker of creative thought. Or figuring out any way to kind of get around something or blend in or deal with the situation. I mean, if you're in fear of consequences, you're going to be completely blocked of any avenues in which to, to survive or get through it. So don't do that, and know your shit too. Know your shit. So when you talk to people or you debate or whatever, you have a conversation with somebody who's, a so-called, like a quote normie, whatever, make sure you know your stuff. we need to be as sharp as attack. We need to be sharper than anybody else because they don't know anything. They just parrot information. But we're so outside that thought, outside what's being pushed, that if we're wrong about like one thing or we don't know the answer to like one little thing, I mean, that's the end of it. They're not going to listen anymore. So, but yeah, I don't know, guys. What do you think? Are more people getting sick these days? Do you see that? Do you think it's because of, the jab? Do you think it's because of, psychology? Do you think it's because of just their bad habits? Drugs, alcohol, bad food, bad lifestyle. What do you guys think it is? And are you guys noticing like more people being, like at work and stuff, like more people being sick in general and maybe being out longer than usual? And are the companies more lax to it now as well? So let me know that. And I think that's pretty much all I had for today. I just wanted to vent a little bit because it is so frustrating. I have to hear about this fake disease, 3.5, 4 years later. I mean, it's just still hearing about it. People are still concerned. Like, it's almost like they're like, oh, I'm going to take the test today. Like, they're not feeling good. And then they tell me I'm going to take the test today, as if that makes any fucking difference as to what your outcome's going to be. It's like, well, I mean, I'm just trying to read their mind. Like, are they like, oh, I'll take the test, and if I'm positive, I'll go to the doctors. I'll really worry if I'm positive, but if I'm negative, I might not go to the doctors, or, I'm going to be a little more positive about it, and, I'm not going to worry so much. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever you are going through, you're going through regardless of whether you have it or not. I would rather just not even know. The thing doesn't exist. But these people think it does. So it's just, and then you'll show them evidence that it's the false positive rate is just astronomically high, extremely high. And, you could cite, Kerry Mullis and all that and what he said about the PCR. And, it doesn't matter to these people. It doesn't matter. It's just, it's unbelievable where free thought went. Why people don't think for themselves, why they want to be like ruled over. They want to be enslaved. They don't want to think for themselves. They don't want to be like, wait a second, this doesn't seem right to me, and I'm going to look a little deeper this because this just seems way off. I mean, it's like, so the guy who created the test says it's not a test, and was really pissed off that they used it for that disease of the 1980s, the sexually transmitted disease. So he's just gonna, so he's wrong, like, but then they use it now for like this huge, like the pandemic, like the biggest crisis in the world. They use it as a reliable test when the guy who created it says it's not a test. It cannot tell whether or not you're sick or not, or you have, whatever germ you're looking for. Like, fuck off. That's what I say. Leave your comments below. I want to hear what you guys think.